laptop is moving so slow.
You what?
My laptop is moving so slow. Okay, here we go. Perfect. And then I'll let them in. Awesome. Okay. Oh, we got four people in the waiting room. We actually have four people. Good. Your hair looks really good. I love it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I had some time to style it this morning.
So good. Great. Okay, so we can get started. So thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Katina. I'm Covenant Maine's Education and Community Manager, and I have on with me Concealed by Covenant Maine Educator, Taylor Blades.
Hi everyone. Thank you for allowing me to do this today. So I'm really excited because I feel like I do a lot of education with Covenant Maine, but lately it's been all about concealed. So I'm excited to bring to you guys today what it's like to own a commissioned salon. Please feel free to drop questions in the chat since you are live with us, but we will be going over questions, just general questions that I feel like are most common with how to handle a commissioned salon. I own a salon here in Gilbert, Arizona called Blade Styling Salon. I have 5 employees. We're actually looking to hire one more, having an interview today, so hopefully 7. And I have been through the good, bad, everything in between. Still learning to this day. I feel like there's always going to be evolving with commission salon, still learning, always have the room for growth. But I feel like I've done it all. I've hired, I've fired, I've had employees leave. That's the not beautiful thing about it. But the beautiful thing about it is I wouldn't trade anything for the world with having employees and building a team-based salon. I'm really empowered to give my team what I wish I had 10 years ago. 10 years ago, commission salons were not what they were today. I actually started off in a commission salon. Oh my gosh, 14 years ago. So
Wow.
I feel like, I left wanting more and that there wasn't the room for that. So I want to change the way we think about commission salons. And that started with me owning a commission salon. So I'd love, again, for you guys to drop real live questions while you're on here with us today. But if not, we're going to get started on a few questions that we've had come in.
So, what kind of professional development and training opportunities do you offer to your stylists? Do you have like a growth plan for them? Like, what's your process?
Yeah, so everything's always evolving, right? So I will say, like, I have had my brick and mortar location for 4 years, but I've actually started blade styling 7 years ago. My longest employee's been with me for 6 years. So if you talked to her 6 years ago, our growth plan was verbal. And maybe it started off like bullet points. And now I have just such and it'll evolve, I'm sure, by next year. But I have such a plan for my employees that leads them to success. There's no room for questions on how to get to the next level. So what that looks like for us is we have 4 different levels inside a blade styling salon. And we start all of our stylists off with co-stylist. I say the program's about 2 years, but everyone's so different. And that doesn't mean that you're just co-styling. We call co-stylist, hybrid, and then full-time stylist. So a hybrid's where they're co-styling and getting to be behind the chair as well. So inside of that, level 1 is your hybrid stylist. Level 2 is a full-time stylist. Level 3 is a full-time stylist with an assistant. And level 4 is a full-time stylist working 3 days behind the chair with an assistant. And all of that means a price increase as with their services and a price increase and a commission increase. So the growth plan is crystal clear on what they make, how to get there. So on the back end of things, there's requirements like a certain number of requests, retention, retail sales, social media posting. Everything is crystal clear. And my biggest advice on how to get there is, again, starting off with that one employee and what are those non-negotiables. I will say we implemented the social media about 2 years. 2 years ago, we implemented a social media plan because before that I was like, just post, get out there, post. And then I started to get resentment and being like, well, they're not posting. So who does that fall back on? I felt like myself. It wasn't their fault. So I had to start being like, it's a contract, but it's not like, it's just for them to verbally say, I'm going to post 4 times a week. I'm going to do one selling. So I'm going to sell what we offer. Extensions. I'm going to do one education post. I'm going to educate the client why they need extensions. I'm going to do one personal. And there's those requirements that I felt built in that also hold them accountable, but also doesn't make me have a resentment towards that. So really the growth plan started by just little things that I felt not were problem areas, but it's so hard to go and be like, I need this whole list of things because you don't know what works and what doesn't work. And so when you start that with one employee, two employees, you start making a list of what non-negotiables are, I feel like. And that's where I was like, here's your requirements to get to level 2. It is 80% productivity, because I will say we've had in the past, I let a stylist open up her books full time and she was in the salon 2 days a week. What does that build? It makes her not confident because she's half booked, half not, and then she's not in the salon as much. So I feel like the team, she wasn't there as much. So I felt like it was hard for her to feel confident when her books weren't busy. And that was because I didn't have that 80% productivity rate. I just was like, oh, I think it's time for you to open up your 3rd day. I think it's time for you to open up your 4th day. So realistically, to be able to get to the next level, it's 3 months consecutive 80% productivity. And those are just a few little tips in our growth outline. Long-winded answer, but I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, for sure. So you said that usually they're in this program for 2 years. So within that 2 years, when do you start making reassessments? Say you're having a girl that's been like excelling at what she's doing, like really excited, getting her books filled, doing all the steps that you've asked her to take. How do you manage someone that's going above and beyond with someone who may is a little more shy and hasn't gone those extra steps yet?
I always set it up in an interview. Everyone's on their own growth plan. And I think we've seen that inside of Blade Styling, because there are some slow burners and there's some that are just like go-getters. And those, you need both employees, realistically. You can't, I feel like, you can't have a bunch of go-getters. You really can't. So I feel like, and it's not that they're not a go-getter, it's just they're slower paced. Maybe they're not in a rush to get to being a full-time stylist. They're not in a rush to get to level 4. Maybe they're enjoying some personal time at home, and that's okay. I feel like there's a season and a reason always for each stylist. And sometimes those go-getters need to take a step back and go a little bit slower. But I will say we've had a stylist come in and become a full-time stylist in 1 year. We've had it take 2 years. So everyone's so different. It's just totally based on their growth plan. I always say social media is the number one marketing tool. Some people are easier on social media. Some people have a lot to learn. Personality, I always go back to personality, is the number one reason we build a clientele. Everyone could be good at hair. And I think I think we all have amazing stylists inside of the salon, but if someone's a little bit more outgoing and gives that care of personal feelings, they're going to build a clientele faster than someone who's just amazing at hair. So it really just, I say a 2-year limit, but if someone's going to come in and just blow it out of the water and start opening their days up and is retaining those clients and getting a ton of requests because of their social media, I'll never stop it. I'm going to keep letting them go. It kind of built a fire under some of the other stylists, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get back on my social media. Yes. So I think it's a healthy, fine line of being honest with your team too, and celebrating that stylist wins who is doing really well, but also celebrating the stylist who is a little bit slow burner. Like, that's okay too. So I feel like celebrating every area in everyone's life is always really key.
We actually have a question that came in. How do you effectively use an assistant when only doing extension guests? Are you double booking?
So I will speak on my journey. And then I also have my stylist who's been with me for 6 years. She is our salon inventory manager, and she actually is our salon assistant trainer. So for myself, there are times I double book where I give that client the first hour to remove them, start the color, and then I have another client come in, remove them, start the color, and then I'm switching in rows. That only is when I have 2 assistants. I can't do that with just one. I feel like if they're coming to see me, they know that they love my assistants and they love that, but that assistant can't do the full service. So I have to be able to be present with my assistant on both services. So if I'm double booking, it's with two assistants. Possibly, I always say overlapping. So maybe I have an appointment for 2 hours, but I know it's going to take me 2.5. I'm having an appointment at 2 because that last half hour, my assistant's getting the other client removed and prepped for me to color, and then we switch and she curls and styles and takes photos. So there's that aspect. I will say what I've transitioned to. So my stylist Kenna can talk all about this all day, because what we have started doing is any new assistant is actually with her. She's training them the blade styling way. She's training them, and not that I'm a little bit more strict, but she can train them everything. And then here they come to me and I'm rounding up their speed. I'm rounding up their, I'm not a perfectionist, but I'm making it flow a little bit better.
You're getting your reps in.
Exactly. She trains them, she gets them going. And I feel like I come in and I'm like, this, but it's not that way. It's just, it makes it transitional easier for me because I just had a baby a couple months ago. I work 2 days a week. I don't have the time to train and go slower. So if she trains them, gets their reps in, then they come to me and their skills, they can elevate their skill set. So what she does is she doesn't double book and she doesn't overlap unless there's a situation she's running late. But with an assistant, this is why I do level 3 or 4. Our price point's a little bit higher, so we can afford to pay that assistant hourly and cash tips. So I hope that answers your question on a little bit of how she does it and a little bit of I
do it. Okay. So we were talking a little bit about how you market for the salon and getting into like client acquisition efforts that you engage in the salon. So outside of social media, is there any marketing requirements that you have for your team, and what does that look like to get new clients in the chairs?
I still go back to Instagram being our number one tool. I'll be honest, I'm not a big believer in TikTok, and that's just my believing. I think when we utilize TikTok, you're not finding a service provider. You're finding a trend. You're finding an outfit. You're finding a makeup tutorial. You may be a hair tutorial, but that's not going to get us a client in the door, in my opinion. So I really lean into Instagram still till this day. We know Instagram's crazy sometimes, but I still feel like we lean into Instagram. And those are my social media requirements of posting 4 times a week, or I think it's 16 a month. However you want to do it. I'd love 4 times a week, but if they can get 16 a month, great. The girls who are just starting, obviously, I always tell them that's like, the more you do, the more you're going to get seen. We're on our stories once a day. Again, those 4 different posts: personal, educational, and you're not educating another stylist, you're educating your client. You're selling something, which also is educational. And I think it was just those 3. So you can kind of pick and play. I think it's really important to do personal, but Instagram's still our number 1 marketing tool. As the business, we have a social media. We hire social media for blade styling Instagram. And when we go back to the growth plan, it is if it's a request, it goes straight to the stylist. If it's a first available, a lot of the times what that means is they're going to get on a consultation with my client coordinator and they're going to decide price point they want to be in. So whatever level, maybe they can only come on Saturday. Maybe they can only come on a Wednesday. So we've seen it all. Requests are great for the girls to be able to up a level.
So you kind of talked this through, but like handling those incoming inquiries, it's not based on if you're a level 1 or a level 4. It's kind of fair game almost to everyone. Like you can, if it fits within the client's needs, that's where they can go.
Absolutely. So at this point in my career, I'm request only. And who's to say in a couple years when I'm done having kids, I might not be, but I more likely won't be taking a first available. My client coordinator, which is actually my sister, gets on a phone consultation. And we've seen this too, where they've put, say, myself as a request, and then they end up wanting to go with a different stylist for price point, days availability, and things like that. So she gets on the phone, and if it's a request for Kenna, then it's going straight to Kenna. But there's the option of, again, days availability, price point. How long do they want to sit in the chair? Because my level 1 and 2 don't work with assistants. So their timing is going to be a little bit longer. And then maybe they're like, I have all day. I strongly stand behind all of my levels. So maybe they're like, I want to pay the cheapest. I'll go with level 1. Or, you know what, I only have 3 hours to sit in the chair. I can't sit any longer. Then they will go with a 3 or 4 level stylist.
And we
So
have
I
another
really feel
question,
like,
Megan.
oh yeah.
About how long are they in the learning phase before being able to really assist with clients?
So I love hiring right out of school, and I also love hiring a seasoned stylist. So my stylist I'll just speak on has been that I just hired January. I went back from maternity leave January 16th, and she started her first day January 16th. She's been doing hair for 10 years. She just opened her first Saturday last week. So about
I have 2 months.
6 to 8 weeks it took her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she'll open up one day. Now that's just hybrid stylist. So once that Saturday's 80% booked, then she gets her 2 days and so on and so on. So then I have another stylist who was behind the chair for a year. So I say a newer stylist, and it took her about 8 months to open her first day. So it is based on every stylist. To me, there's confidence that comes with that. So I love to be really communicative with my employees and my co-stylists and ask, are you comfortable and confident doing that? Or do we need more time training? Because they'll be honest with you too, especially at the price point we're hiring or we're servicing. So what we do inside of our training program is always on mannequins first, then they opt in for models, and then we give the go ahead. And really, I don't look at the nervous, like when you're a little bit nervous doing someone a model is always so different when someone's standing over you. I don't look at that. I just look at the skill set and the communication.
And do you have any salon traditions or team building events that you do? Like as a leader, how do you foster positive relationships between your team members and a commission-based salon?
So it's funny. We were had each other and we were doing all each other's hair, and we were talking about this. I love knowing my girls' love language. And
I love that.
I am a gift giver. It's not my love language, but I gift. Like, no, I feel like that's where my strong suit where I give.
Hmm.
So with that being said, I'm not just giving a gift randomly, I'm incentivizing. So, and celebrating 1 year anniversaries, always celebrating, and I'll do a little gift card.
Hmm.
Promotions, always celebrating that promotion. If you are in the corporate world or have ever been in the corporate world, they're always a promotion's huge. It comes with a price
Hmm.
increase, and it comes with a bonus as well. So I feel like that as a commission salon, I honestly can't give much more money, but if I can
Hmm.
incentivize a trip to the spa, a nice date night out, things like that, that's where I feel like I can elevate my um, team in a sense. And then as far as bonding, we actually get together as a team once a month for meetings. But I always started
Hmm.
off. It's of course we have to go through the numbers and logistics and things like that. But we always started off with something we're grateful for, and things like that. We talk about how it's always on a Monday. We talk about how the weekend was. So I feel like getting together in that sense is always
Hmm.
nice. And then Christmas parties. I feel like I always have to do something for them. We do
Hmm.
a team building in the summer. It's Arizona. We love the heat. We love the pool days. So we actually do a little staycation. Again, I personally won't budge on my commission, but I'm totally down to give, incentivize, and spoil my girls in the way of just gift giving. And they love an experience too, rather than more money, I feel like.
And why is it important to have teamwork within the salon? Like, yes, everyone is essentially working for themselves, but why is it good to, when they come into that salon, they know they have someone there to support them?
So actually, Dafina said something about at Train the Trainer that stuck with me is they are my family, but my family's at home. So they are my team, and to instill that, it is a family-based environment. But I
Hmm.
now have been trying to teach the girls families at home, team environment here. When we're in the salon, we are family, and when we're there together, we treat each other like a family.
Hmm.
Um, and we're there to support each other with formulations, a bad day,
Hmm.
things like that. And that's super important to me. That is why I feel like the team building and bonding brings us closer together, being inside the salon. Um, and really just knowing, I feel like when we get applicants to hire, it's just knowing that you have someone to count on. Whether
Hmm.
that's myself or your teammate next to you. I will say, I think being a leader that way, that's how you build your team that way. Um, Are you someone that wants to work by yourself? You know, I'm not. I know I don't want to be by myself. And it's like knowing that I think your team, anyone who's going to interview, that's what we look for is wanting to have your peers next to you. And I think it's
Mhm.
important to set that tone right off the bat and know that, you don't want, there's no room for drama or bullshit or anything like that, but there's room for loving each other. There's room for we are girls. There's room for
Mhm.
hard times. Like there's just like, I feel like you treat it as a friend and the girls know I'm their boss first, but friend second. And that's
Mhm.
what's helped us be a lovable and team that can count on each other.
And you mentioned before that you have like non-negotiables for when they come into the salon and they start working. What are your non-negotiables when you're going through that application process? Like, how do you know who your ideal stylist is for your salon?
So I will say we have a not an extensive application, but a lot of questions on our application, and I'm reading through that. Second is sending us a video, and I want to see in the video because I'm not worried about you being nervous on a video. I want to see what you're looking for, what your
Mhm.
goals are, what you aspire to be, and things like that. And I think just answering the question the right way makes me look at the video. Um,
Mhm.
and even not, I'm always going to look at the video, but there, I will say, I've gotten a video that someone called me the completely wrong name. I am not going to be calling them for an interview. So
Fair.
I've also gotten a video where someone was probably never been on social media or done a video face to face, never maybe done a Zoom or anything. And I didn't, she, it was, she was nervous, but I still wanted to opt in for an interview. And I
Mhm.
truly can say through the process, you kind of know what you're looking for. I also really love interviews because I can gauge a feeling of a person. Um, Listen to your gut. I always have to say too, because I started bringing Kenna along with my interviews, and we had one interview, and she's like, "Loved her," and I'm like, "There's a few things that
Mhm.
you just have to listen to and listen to your gut for to
Mhm.
be able to move forward." Now, has there been times I've been wrong? Absolutely, but I wouldn't trade that for anything either. And I think it's just listening to your gut, following through. I would suggest doing that interview face to face, very chill. I always tell them this is no interview. I'm not asking you questions. I already know so much about you. I want you to ask us questions, get to know Blade Styling. If they don't have any questions, that's a little bit of a red flag for me too. How do you know what you're
Mhm.
making? What does the growth plan look like? Just things like on this Zoom today. Those are questions they should be asking on your interview. So I look for that. And then I do a two-step working interview, one with me there and one with me not there. And I think the one with me not there is huge to see because they come out of their shell a little bit more. And I want my team to give real honest feedback as well, because that is my team and who's going to be working with them more.
That's kind of nice to have like you do the first pass and then getting them on the floor a little bit to make sure like there's a little bit of a vibe check there.
Absolutely. Because I mean, yeah, they might act a little different when I'm not there, which isn't a bad
Hmm.
thing. I'm not judging it that way, but I want to see how are you, like, are you
Yeah.
being crazy
Hmm.
or are it's just like, are you still being a little bit shy? Or are you a little bit more out of your shell? Because I am not there. And to be honest, they're not even working with me in that first maybe 3 to 6 months. They're going to be working with my one of my stylists. So to
Hmm.
see that is always better as well.
So, what advice would you give someone that's new to a commission salon, like a new owner of a commission salon?
I feel like I want to say just go at it with grace. I think there is all the positives outweigh the negatives. Um, if you're interested in a commission salon to make money, that's not a motivator enough because having a
Hmm.
team and building a team is really hard, especially with I'm building family too. So I feel like my advice would be go in it for the right reasons. If you know that there's like love and compassion to start off, I think you're going to be a successful salon owner and commission salon owner right off the bat. Um, I think that if you're at the next phase in your career where you're questioning if you should, start off with hiring just an assistant and build from there. See if that's something you're interested in, not committing to opening a full salon. I started off in a studio and I just hired one employee. I didn't know what I was looking for. I always said I wanted to own a salon. I didn't know what that was. So I feel like necessarily not having a plan right off the bat is probably your best way to be successful in it, in hiring that one employee and seeing where that could take you. Do you even like managing someone? Do you, is this something that you're interested in doing? And who's to say you do like managing someone, you love an assistant, but you don't want commission? Maybe you go rental. So I feel like always just starting off with listening to what you want, doing it for the right reasons. And I always feel like you're always going to be successful at it.
Yeah. And what advice would you give a new stylist, whether they're fresh out of beauty school, have been doing hair for a while, and they're going into a commission salon?
Oh, trust the process. I cannot. I feel like if you're new and you're starting out or you're looking for a commission salon, my biggest regret in the beginning is not being, no, I wasn't not honest, but I not being honest with my team and saying, I can't give you a client till tomorrow. I don't like, and now I go with that in interviews is I'm so honest that I cannot give you a client till tomorrow. You have to work for it. And trusting that process, I can guarantee and promise you to be $100,000 commission stylist, but I cannot do it for you. I want to, but I can't. So I feel like just having that, trust the process, give it your all, be honest, be communicative. If something's bothering you, like where you're at, I feel like that with all my stylists. I always want honesty. And if you're not happy with where you're at, tell the owner to see where if there's room for growth, or if there's room for you maybe to pick up an extra day to make money. I'm very transparent with them that I want them to make money, but I just can't give them a clientele tomorrow, and we all have to work on it together as a team.
And another question, how do you compensate the stylist that does the training and inventory management?
So that stylist is a little bit of salary. So she is actually my level 3 stylist. She works 3 days behind the chair. She has an assistant, and she's inventory manager. So inventory manager, we do a hourly rate. Oh, I think we switch. No, we do a monthly rate now. It used to be hourly, like 8 hours a week in that way, but now we just do a monthly fee. And I want to say, I can't quote it 100%, but I want to say it's $350 a month. She comes in every other Thursday. She picks up color, orders color, takes out inventory. It's not a ton of time, but it's a lot of responsibility. I will say that. So it's not so, and it's new where we started hourly and then we just switched to that flat rate this month. So it could raise depending on I see how much she's doing. And if she came to me and was like, I'm doing this and this, I'm going to bend a little bit. Now, salon assistant training, we do it based on hours. So she'll text me at the end of the week of how many hours she put in, and that's $25 an hour to be an educator. So she'll text me, I worked on, now the co-stylist Ashley's with her all the time throughout the days. And if they have a break, she'll be like, I had 3 hours today. We worked on X, Y, and Z. So she'll send me her hourly, and we do that plus her commission. And since she's level 3, she gets a little higher commission. We pay for her assistant. There's like incentives that way too. So I hope that answers your question. Flat rate for inventory management, hourly for educator. Do we have any questions?
Any last advice you would give before we go?
I think I said it, but I'll say it again. Being a commission owner is the most rewarding thing there is. It outweighs over the hard times. Your heart and passion will carry you through. There's going to be times you don't get paid. There's times where you get overpaid. There's times where you're spending more time in the salon than you want to. And there's times where you get to step away for a full 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months on maternity leave. So there's never consistency, but it's the most rewarding thing I feel like there is. And I think your passion will lie in wanting to build a team. I will say my number one passion is just building a path for stylists that I didn't have when I was starting out. So that's what has pushed me. And you guys can find me on Instagram, ask me any more questions. And I just say, go for it. If you're interested in building a team, start off with that assistant and see where it takes you. If you're already a commission salon owner, congratulations. It's a huge, huge, what's the right word I'm looking for? It's a accomplishment. So congratulations to that. And if you've been through a hard time, I'm with you. And if you've been there to celebrate, I'm with you too. So, yay! I wanted to say cheers, but I don't have a drink or a cup.
Well, thank you so
But
much, Taylor.
of course, thank you. This was fun, and I was really excited to be able to talk everything about fashion.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.